Hey everyone, welcome to Game Center Crown. My name is Joy. This is Rule of Rose, and today we are going to be doing the Mermaid Princess chapter. I have taken the liberty of wiping our inventory and equipping the steel pipe. Let's talk to our friend Bucket Knight and see what clue they have. If memory serves me correctly, you've met a strong-willed princess as intense as still waters. She seeks what you seek. I know what it is, yet you forget. Remember your forgotten promise. That's your only clue. Cool. More mysteries. Everything is tied up. The bed is tied up, and it looks like... sort of looks like somebody's in it, which is disturbing. We can look here. There's nothing inside. If you look closely, there is a model of the orphanage in that tank. It sounds like there was a fish in it at some point, and Meg is pissed. Or not Meg, Diana is pissed, because Hoffman will be furious. And yeah, this chapter is heavy. We're going to be talking about, yeah, well, I don't want to spoil it. I gave a bunch of trigger warnings in the beginning, but here's the dressing room. I wonder if this is the chapter where it says there's a weird scent in here. Not yet. Yeah, at one point you walk into the dressing room and it's like, it has the scent of winter. And there's the side quest to get the gun is that you have to find perfumes, and they're named after the seasons: summer, spring, winter, fall. And I wonder if that's a hint. Or if it's just to indicate the progression of time. But we hear someone crying, and it's probably Olivia back on her bullshit, because that's what she does. Indeed, it is her. What's the deal, Olivia? What's the sitch? Huh? No way, there's no such thing. This month's gift, an unmarried mermaid. Olivia has some feelings about that. She's gonna cry it out. Alright, so this month's gift is an unmarried mermaid. So one, you have to get a mermaid, which doesn't exist, and then two, it has to be an unmarried mermaid. Now, unmarried, if we go by the book, means like kind of a spinster type deal. Another way to look at that, unmarried, is somebody who is too young to marry, or somebody who has not been married yet, somebody who's not eligible for marriage yet, or maybe just hasn't been given away, or, you know, because this is happening in the 1930s. Arranged marriages were sometimes still a thing. Class definitely factored more into things. You know, it wasn't quite like, you know, Jane Austen novel levels, but... So we have the sick bay, and it's locked. And I think the sick room is as well. Yes, it is. Okay, what about the library? We can go into the library, but I don't think anybody's in here. Maybe Meg is in here. She tends to hang out in here. She's not in here, unfortunately. Womp womp. Okay. So we're looking for a mermaid. We don't have any clues yet. I believe we pick one up fairly soon. We just have to leave this first class sector, I think. Let's go into the salon. See if we... Oh, just kidding. We will not go into the salon, apparently. We will leave. We'll go into the Sector 8 stairway. But yeah, this one, this chapter is definitely requires the most kind of stretching and mental gymnastics to piece together things. The cold princess and the wise-looking princess were talking. The unlucky girl quietly listened in. Diana was quite upset. Don't you think that was too much? We had to do it. Besides, there's no such thing as mermaids. Don't you agree, Meg? You're right. That was the only thing we could do. Something tells me these two had something to do with the fish going missing. Let's talk to him. Then the wise-looking princess asked, "How about you, Jennifer? Do you believe in mermaids?" The cold princess said, "They're such beautiful and pure creatures." "You're looking for a mermaid too, aren't you? Then you'd better hurry. Diana might find it before you." So some really stacked meaning there's brown, buddy. You're killing me this chapter, bud. Okay, mermaids are pure and beautiful. So if we go to an unmarried mermaid, that means like a virginal mermaid. If we go with like, you know, traditional notions of purity type deal. Mermaids are usually depicted as being young, beautiful, young women, you know, type thing. So probably not an old woman that is a spinster, but a young woman who is a virgin or has innocence left to her in some way. It's a fish scale, shiny and blue. So we found a fish scale when they stood up. Meg, bitch, you have just things sticking to your ass when you sit up. Because last chapter, you left your pencil behind. Okay, let's find.
Go.
Onward, Brown. And they were concerned that Diana would be upset, and she was. This chapter is, interestingly, not really about Diana. It's about another girl. Diana is just sort of periphery. Ooh, got something over here. What is this? What is this? Candy. I actually want to look in our safe room real quick. See what all has changed as shit has gone down on this ship. Filth room. For filth. Red to filth. So we got a whole lot of shit going on. We have way more doodles. We have rope binding shit everywhere. Oh, sorry. It's tied tightly with rope. And so acknowledging it. And then we have these hanging figures hanging from the ceiling here. They're kind of hard to see with the light, but there they are. Oof. Shit's going down in here. But anyway, let's continue onward. Brown was leading us to Vicotori. And there was kind of a double meaning in when Eleanor was saying, aren't you looking for a mermaid too? Something pure and beautiful. Perhaps Jennifer is looking for something pure and beautiful. She's remembering a promise she made, the 2/3 of which is true love, or everlasting true love. So it seems that Jennifer is also on the search for something that is pure and beautiful. And then kind of bringing it back to the story at hand in the moment of, if you don't hurry, Diana will find it before you. I think the gist is you don't want to be the last person to submit a gift to the aristocrat club. Like last one's there is a rotten egg type deal. And I imagine whoever can find it the fastest, you know, is rewarded. And so this is back where we slam down with Hoffman. Not gonna let me, what is this? Some sort of pulley thing. If we come over here, the board says something is a form of government controlled by one man. And it's either I cannot tell what that says. A system controlled by one man is either a monarchy or a dictatorship. And we can also see that this board is bound. That's called symbolism. It's a metaphor, Hazel Grace. And it's very interesting that the board changed from a math equation to talking about how there's a system of government where something is controlled absolutely by one man, and that it's phrased that way, one man. And we know that Hoffman is the headmaster of the orphanage, and the ship being a parallel of the orphanage, he is the big man on campus here. And we'll see a bit of exposition here in a moment. Oh, who is this? So Hoffman is leading Clara. If you'll think way back to Clara, she was on that medical examination table with the stirrups, and she slammed shut a drawer and said, "No, don't look in there." She is known as the frightened princess. So something is clearly going on here. And I, for the love of me, I cannot, for the life of me rather, play bottom of the sea. I'm not entirely sure what that means. But it is there, so I stopped and read it for you guys. I'm sure it relates to the mermaid story somehow because of the bottom of the sea. Lower vertical tail. So we're in the tail of the airship. The children often interpret the airship, the Zeppelins, as fish. Even in the beginning cutscene at the very beginning of the game before we started, it had a large fish swimming away in that last scene. And I'm going to shut up for a second so you can hear the sound. It sounds like we're underwater instead of in the air right now, which is very interesting. Brown, what are you doing, bud? If we come down here, we find two things. We find a meat cleaver, which is going to be very helpful in a second. It does more damage than the pipe, so I'm going to switch to that. It does not have as good a reach, though, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Alright, so, and then we have this over here, which is a fish head. It's a fish's head that's been chopped off its body. So, Eleanor and Meg were talking about how mermaids don't exist and how something they did was too much. And Diana would be mad, and Diana was mad about a fish going missing, and now we just found a fish head. Something tells me they repurposed this fish to sort of make a makeshift mermaid of sorts. So it's interesting that we're in the tail of the ship. It sounds like we're underwater. We're looking for the tail of, or the tail end is what makes a mermaid, essentially, because the top half is human. And it's metaphors on metaphors on metaphors. So we also saw that Hoffman was leading Clara here. Clara, I don't know how she pronounces it, or the game pronounces it. But they were not down there. And the sick bay, where they usually are, was locked. So some shit is going down. We are looking for the other half of this fish. Let's go find it. And actually, I'm trying to think where, the fucking, I actually want to see if there's a, what do you call it, a special knife in this chapter. I can't remember if there is. Sector 1 wire controller. I'm actually going to pause super quick and double check to see if there is a special knife. Just a moment, sorry. There is, in fact, a special knife. I just found a lollipop, and if Brown leads me to where I think he's leading me, we're gonna have a problem. Found another lollipop. Also, we can see that fish with heads but no tails are swimming around. So sort of like a reverse fucked up mermaid. Yeah, that's weird, bud. And we can see Diana up here. The fish has got to be this way. I just know it. And I actually want to take a look around real quick because I'm trying to find starboard horizontal tail. I'm trying to find that special knife. Because, on God, I want that fucking knife. I don't think I ever did the knife side quest when I was... Oh, Jesus, mother of God. I didn't do it when I was 15 because I didn't have the infinite health thing, and getting the knives requires fighting through imps and putting yourself in precarious situations. I think Brown is actually, yeah, now that I remember it. The fish imps kind of suck because when they drop on the floor and flop like a fish, thanks SpongeBob, they do damage to you and they stun lock you. And here we go, Central Stairway A. This is where the special knife is. And this shit gets real confusing, so I might be running around a little bit more than I intend to. Because I remember doing this the other day in my personal playthrough and having a really hard time finding this special knife-wielding motherfucker. But we're in it now. And I gotta keep Brown conscious enough to find what I'm looking for. We found doll eggs. The top half of the doll is missing. Alright, so this is all coming together. Methinks somebody took the top half of the doll, put it on the bottom half of the fish. Voila, mermaid. We gotta look around the Central Stairway A, and again, it sounds like we're underwater. Instead of in the air. Alright, we got a whole load of these. Yep, here we go. Stunlock City. This sounds like Link getting hit, and let me just make sure. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Just making sure. Actually, I think it might be this asshole group that one of them has the knife. Cannot remember. I just remember running around a lot and being like, I've passed this group before, and then one of them 100% had the knife. And it was infuriating. I might need to switch to the fucking... But yeah, you can see how quickly this butcher knife just rams through him. You can also curb stomp the fish. But yeah, like 1 or 2 hits instead of 3 or 4 really takes these guys out. But yeah, you can stomp the fish, it looks like, which is a nice touch, since they want to be a little bitch and be on the floor so much. And Brown is unconscious. That's what he looks like when he's unconscious. He just sort of lies down. I'm sorry, bud. Yeah, I don't see any golden knives here, so I'm gonna get going. Let me just check my health one more time. Paranoid. Alright, yeah, there we go. Sorry, Brown. I'm doing it for the collectibles. Ugh. Yeah, this way. And then we will go to the door that says the mermaid room. And the most infuriating boss battle will occur. It was the one where I almost rage quit. It's usually the one. It's this bitch that really is something else. Like, if you thought Hoffman was bad, this is next level. I remember being stuck on this one for so long. It's like I couldn't get anything done. No matter how hard I tried, I was just reloading the same save file over and over so I'd have healing items and, you know, making Brown track down more healing items and shit. I'm just gonna kill all the imps in this level until I find that asshole who's wielding the knife I need. Because I feel like there's so many of them, I just, like, lose track. This is a mess. Yeah, so if you're playing this for real without infinite health, this is like a death trap. This is not supposed to happen. I see a bouncy little fucker. Oh, okay, that's a fish. Okay. I want to find the man with a knife. Is there a spooky little bastard over here with a knife? Why are there so many of you? Which one of you has the knife? Jesus shit, you already killed my dog. Well, you didn't kill him. It's sort of like Pokemans. They just faint. Don't worry, Brown is okay. I have not been looking for healing items for Brown. I know, I'm a bad dog mother. And that's because of the infinite health thing. It's, yeah. He can never really die. There was an unused cutscene for Brown's death that didn't get used for the reason of they decided to just have him pass out. And I'm very grateful for that, because I'd be miserable if they tried that shit with me. Okay, I want to say it's over here now. This is where that stupid knife is. Oof. The shit I do for collectibles. For completionism. Oh, I just heard some shit drop down behind me. Come on. Flip the camera. Thank you. There you are. Which one of you has the knife?
One eternity later.
Alright, there you are, you golden knife bastard. I think it's something where you, honest to God, might need to just run around and trigger the damn thing. But we're almost there. Oh my god. Get off of me. I just want the asshole with the golden knife. You. You. Oh god. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd be so dead right now. Of course he's over here just... Give me the knife! Give me the knife! Give me the knife! Give me the knife! Stop touching me so I can get the knife! Cease and desist, bro! Let me have the knife! Jennifer, pick it up! Marquis! Thank Christ almighty. Alright, let's... GTFO. Really testing the limits of, this infinite health cheat. Brown is still passed out when we enter the boss room, though. He'll follow us, and he's actually kind of useless for this fight. It just makes more sense to have him sit off to the side. But I'm sorry, you fought nobly. Hold on, let me... He's still alive. See, you can see him moving. Okay, he's fine. Over here, we use that camera angle. We have the mermaid room. And when we look through the keyhole, and remember, these are memories, a parallel sort of orphanage universe that's taking place on an airship. We see Hoffman stroking someone in bed. And when we enter this room, we'll see who it was. Now, there's no one that Hoffman should be stroking in this orphanage, except maybe himself. So we just had somebody realize that we were peeking and slam the door. But if we go into the mermaid's room... we're going to trigger, hands down, the hardest boss fight in this game. Okay. So I want you to take a look at this bed and this nightstand because we're going to see it again later on, but just look at it and I'll remind you when we get there. And the Mermaid Princess is Clara. So Hoffman was stroking Clara. Brown, follow me, bud. You need to just be over here. Come on, Brown. Alright. And sit. Okay, so the strategy for this, you might be wondering what that green stuff is. It's vomit. And you do get stun locked by it, so you gotta be careful. So... the strategy for how to do this for real is that you just kind of jog around in the center of the room. If you're playing this on an emulator that allows you to have a widescreen view, that's the way to do it. The vomit will hurt you, even if the way the clunky kind of controls of this game work. If you get stuck in the vomit, you will get stun locked. But something to notice about Clara, from a lore perspective now, because this fight is just nuts. She takes like 30 hits. It's insane. But her legs are bound, so she's like a mermaid. But there's symbolism there in that she can escape and that she feels helpless. Because she's, spoiler alert, not really, because we're dealing with her chapter now. Yep, and she has a mean right hook. She's being sexually abused by Hoffman. And yeah, you can see the stun lock of getting caught in the vomit there. Some other things to notice about her is she has these gills on her abdomen, which is sort of like a stylistic mermaid thing. More important is that she has scars on her wrists that look like they could potentially be self-mutilation scars. You know, a feeling of being trapped and helpless. You'll also notice, hold on, let me see if I can get an angle here where it shows. Come on, turn towards me. Okay, so you can kind of see a slit on her belly. And that she's also kind of whimpering and sobbing when she's up. And that she is vomiting. So, the slit on the belly, plus the vomiting. A lot of people think that this is speculation that Clara likely was sexually abused by Hoffman and got pregnant at some point. Because birth control did not exist in the 1930s. Condoms and other kind of prophylactic shit like that did, but medication did not. And as if she would have access to it, being a 16-year-old girl in an orphanage. So, the idea with this damage to her body, specifically the slit on her stomach and the examination table with stirrups, is that she was likely forced to have an abortion at some point to cover up the sexual abuse that she was getting from Hoffman. I wonder if I can get it to show here. Oh, that's such a shitty spot because she's surrounded by shit. I'm gonna try and see if I can show it. If not, you can look up the character model of the Mermaid Princess. Yeah, it's really hard to see with her, with the way she moves, but You kind of caught a glimpse of it in the beginning when the fight started during the cutscene. Okay, so the less she vomits when she comes down, it shows that she's getting weaker. Fun fact. It's how you track the progress of this fight. This fight can last 15 minutes if you're doing it fair and square. It's nuts. But you can see she sort of has like this mutilation across the back of her shoulders, like where a bra strap would be, and it's across her breast. She actually doesn't have breasts despite being a 16-year-old girl and topless here. And that could be representative of a couple things, that she feels trapped as a child, that she's only sexually desirable to Hoffman if she is a child. And so breasts being an indicator of a more mature woman in this case. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation for this, but given the stacked up evidence, it's quite obvious that she's being sexually abused by Hoffman. As for what was in the drawer, nobody knows for sure. It could be hiding condoms. It could be hiding medical equipment for abortion. Someone, I think at some point, even speculated that it might have been even fetal remains from the abortion. Who knows? Whatever it was evidence of the abuse that she was receiving from Hoffman, is the idea. And especially that Jennifer is just so viscerally like, no, like not going to open it even when nobody's there. It's pretty indicative that something pretty damning was in there.
What in blazes? Just who did this? Who made this mess? Was it you? Go on, tell me. Answer me, Diana. No new mummy or daddy would ever want you if you don't like that. No, I won't be angry. Just answer me. It was you, wasn't it? You were in charge after all.
Yuck! How disgusting. Ugh. Oh, now I see. It was you. It was your fault that I got into trouble. Give it here. Oh my, I see a stain. I've got to clean it up, or Mr. Hoffman will be angry with me.
We have a lot to unpack. So we saw Hoffman absolutely inappropriately caressing Diana. And that she finds it disgusting and maybe is not as easy to manipulate as Clara. Because Clara is frightened and seems like she was backed into a corner despite being older. Kind of seeking approval. And allowing, well, that sounds like it's victim blaming, and I don't want to do that. Not allowing herself to be manipulated. She just was a victim of manipulation, and Diana being billed as the strong-willed princess, I think would be less likely to keep quiet about something like that, where Clara might have been more kind of easily coerced, so to say. You kind of got to look at the orphanage model there. Mermaid doll. A slip of paper is peeking out of its tummy. So a secret in its belly, so to speak. I am yours, even in death. This book is really... I still haven't really put it together, and I haven't really found much in the community that pulls it apart. But the Mermaid Princess. A long, long time ago, the Mermaid Princess fell in love with a human prince. So it's entirely possible that Clara maybe had a crush on Hoffman because he was the only adult male around. I don't know. But for years, her love went unrequited. Before long, she was old and decrepit. This could be projection. This could be her feeling undesirable or used up by Hoffman, because people have said that throughout this chapter that mermaids are pure and beautiful. And if she's being sexually abused by Hoffman, and especially with societal expectations of girls and women and sexuality and virginity and all that, she may have felt that she was damaged goods, or that she was unworthy of love, or that she was trash now, like she had been used. She wasn't pure and beautiful anymore. All alone, even on the day of her death. So we will hear more about this later, but Clara is she feels very much alone. There's actually unused audio of her talking about how she wants to leave, but she can't. And that she feels very alone. Editing Joy, if you can find that unused audio, drop it in here, please.
It's cold in here. How can I get out? What do I do? What do I do? But I don't want to go outside. But I don't want to stay in here either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me, please. Please. I won't. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Help me. I'm all alone. All alone. It hurts. It hurts. I don't want to be alone. Nothing I do makes it better. Nothing.
Thanks, Dollface. And if you couldn't find it, still thank you, but meh, you're on thin ice. All alone, even on the day of her death. The poor princess of the Sea Kingdom. Who'd ever want to become an ugly woman like her? So who would ever want to become used up? Who would ever want to become used and abused, defiled, unworthy of love like her? And then there's a quote at the end: I am yours, even in death. I think there is... I think the knee-jerk reaction to a statement like that is, I am yours even in death, is like, oh, that's so romantic. In this context, I think it's a submission against will, and maybe a terrible realization that if we go back to what appeared to be self-mutilation scars, suicide attempts on Clara's arms in her Mermaid Princess form, that even in death, she would still be possessed by Hoffman in some way. Even if she were to die, she would not be necessarily remembered as a pure and beautiful girl. That Hoffman would likely tarnish her memory as he's tarnished her life. So that's the interpretation I personally gather from that. You're, of course, open to make yours. The unlucky girl remembered the promise she made to her dear friend, and so she wrote it on the chalkboard, so she'd never forget it ever again. Everlasting, true love, I am yours. Not yet. The little boy is not here this time, and we are out of storybooks. We are officially entering the last half of the game. And before we do that, I'm going to wrap it up here. This is wrapping up the Mermaid Princess before we head on to the next chapter, which I believe is the gingerbread house. You might remember that drawing that was in Wendy's sick room had an indication of a gingerbread house. So we will be, I'm pretty sure that's the next chapter. Yeah, so the Mermaid Princess is easily one of the biggest mysteries of Rule of Rose, and that nothing is very clearly spelled out, and probably because the story and the material is so heavy. But there's so many sort of small things that add up to a big thing that the consensus among people who have played this game and been fans of it and dug through the files and the unused audio and everything like that is that Clara was being sexually abused by Hoffman. Diana was being sexually harassed by Hoffman, but there's no evidence to show that she was ever abused, though she does have a bandage on her upper thigh. When she curtsies, she pulls up her skirt particularly high, and that might be her, trying to be sexier, like, be older. I know when I was a teenager, that there was this appeal of being older, wanting to appear older. And I'm sure we all kind of go through that, wanting to be older, wanting to seem desirable, that sort of thing. So she does have a bandaged upper thigh. We don't know how she sustained whatever injury that was. But that could be signs that she was manhandled by Hoffman at some point. It could also be as innocent as she tripped and fell or something like that. But we know that Hoffman is for sure a pedophile. So disgusting. And that Clara was suffering immensely, and that while Diana was handling the unwanted advances of this older man in a much, it seems, a more resilient way, Clara was really suffering in silence. And we will actually learn more about kind of who she may have trusted and who may have noticed that something terrible was going on. But this was the Mermaid Princess. Hope you enjoyed it, even though it was really heavy material. Let me know your opinions down in the comments, what you think happened, clues that I may have missed, things like that. I think I caught everything, but who knows? I never script my videos. I just sort of know that I want to hit certain points, and how I get between those points is off the cuff. So hopefully I did this justice. But yeah, I hope you join me for the next chapter, which I'm 99% sure is Gingerbread House. And, Jennifer's gonna fix her knee sock. Excuse me. I don't think I've ever let her idle that long. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Later, y'all.